Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Jonathan, and I'm back at again another video. And this time we'll be doing the anime review of fall 2019. And now I have watched a lot more shows than I usually watch. To be fair, this season, I think it's because this is like my first full season as like an anime YouTuber. Usually I just watch like some of the shonen ones, and that's it. But I tried to really broaden my horizons, and I hope y'all appreciate that. Also for the people who probably didn't watch some of the shows that I'll be reviewing, or are just and like don't want to be spoiled, or if you just don't care about them, I will have timestamps for when I start the review of each show. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. First show we'll be talking about is My Hero Academia Season 4. Now, My Hero Academia Season 4 basically revolved around them finally being able to do internships. It was like an advanced work study where they're actually allowed to fight and actually get involved with the crimes instead of just like watch and do like patrol and basic stuff. You know what I mean? They're able to actually do real combat. So this is their first time real action as like legitimate action, and not just like, oh, forced because of a terrible situation around. But it's like legitimate, like you have to fight. And so yeah, it revolved around some of the classmates. Also revolved around the big three from as in Medio, the Sun Eater, and the I forgot the girl's name, but yeah, the big three from the school. Find out how Medio was actually was going to be the one to success All Might. Take All Might's powers. And if it wasn't for All Might just randomly meeting Deku, Mirio would have eventually became the real successor. So it was not Medio, Deku finding that out, his shock, him talking to All Might's connection with Night Eye being his sidekick, and how they're connected and how they had a troubled past together. Also, we get the introduction to a new villain, Overhaul, which I think has been one of the best villains in the show. I really enjoyed his character. If you watch my reactions throughout the series, you would know that I really enjoyed his character. And yeah, I thought it was just one of the better seasons they've had. Of course, last season excluding, but I thought it was one of the better seasons they've had, and I think it was really good. Obviously, it's an asterisk on this rating because the season isn't over, but I'm only reviewing up until now, so don't sue me, don't kill me, don't look back and be like, oh, you gave it this even though it was a way better or way worse. It's like, you know what, asterisk on it. So yeah, my rating for this season will probably be an 8 out of 10, so obviously an asterisk on it because we don't know, it could get better, it could get worse, but that'll be my rating for that. And on to the next show. Alright, so the next show we'll be talking about is the Overcautiously Superhero. And basically, if you don't know, it's just an isekai with a twist of, oh, the guy doesn't really care. He only fights when he's perfectly ready for literally anything. Overly cautious. That's basically all you need to know. And it started out, with, oh, it's a little twist. He's not a basic superhero. He actually, is like, he's like, he doesn't cold-blooded, he only cares about himself, and it's like, oh, it's a little funny twist. And then it became redundant, and I was like, oh, this show's all right. And they had a little twist at the end, which was kind of interesting. They were kind of like building on a plot at the end, which I thought was pretty cool. Basically, the superhero was actually reincarnated another hero. Basically, was reincarnated as another hero, and in the previous life, he was a hero that lost the final battle with the Demon King. So you see, and he was reincarnated so that he could save his friends. I think it is. I think I'm saying that wrong. But yeah, basically, it was an alright show. Wasn't anything spectacular, you know what I mean? I'd give it about a 6. I'd give it a 6. Yeah, that's really all I'd give it, a 6. It was alright. Yeah. On to the next show. Next show we'll be talking about is Shokugeki no Soma's fourth season, Shin no Sara. Basically, it was the same. I don't really know if it differentiates itself from other Shokugeki no Soma seasons. You have the whole when they're eating the food, all the stripping and everything, the good food. I didn't think it was anything different. The one thing I would like to point out about this season, is that they kind of took the focus the emphasis off Yukihiro, which they usually usually about Yukihiro, but this season it was more about Erina getting over her fear of her father, getting over the shackles of her father, and basically becoming her own person. You know, I mean, you truly see many aspects of her this season grow as a character, and I really respect that. You know, they took it off the main character, move it to basically the second most important character. So yeah, again, I thought it was a pretty good season. If I'm being honest, probably give it like a 7.5. You know, if I'm being real here, it wasn't anything special, but I think I did like how they switched it up. So yeah, again, 7.5, and yeah, let's jump on to the next show. Next show we'll be reviewing is a show that was a new season. It just came. This is the first season of the show. It's Oresuki. I'm not gonna say the full title because it's hella long, and I ain't gonna try to like just butcher the Japanese like that. So yeah, Oresuki is basically, if you don't know, it's basically a story about a guy who is interested in two of his friends. One is neighborhood her is her neighbor. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Is her neighbor basic, and the other girl is like the class president. They're both really, he's friends with both of them, and what he eventually finds out is that neither of them are interested in him, and they're both interested in his friend, and he finds out that he's not the main character of a rom-com. He's basically the side he's basically a side character, and basically it's his goal, you know, to turn the situation around. And so it was a really funny show. I liked the concept. I just thought it was really funny. I love the main character Judo. I mean, some of the characters are a little annoying, like the neighborhood friend girl. She's a little too much. But other than that, I really liked the show. I thought it was a funny show. I'd give it. I do. Wait, hold on. I do like the ending. For those of you who are confused with the ending, of the last episode, I was too. I looked it up a bit. I found out they will finish off that season with like an OVA sometime in the summer, I think, or spring. They'll release an OVA, and that basically concludes it. Because I was like, that's a kind of a weird way to end it. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's an interesting way. I'd have to give it. I'd give it. I'd give it a 7. I'd give it a 7. I'd give it a 7. 7. I thought it was a pretty good show. I'm excited for season 2. If there is a season 2, I don't know, but if there is going to be a season 2, I'm excited for that. And yeah, that's it for this ranking. Let's go on to the next one. All right. Next show is a show that was recommended to me by one of my subscribers, so shout out to them. It is called Mairimashita Iruma-kun. Basically, it's about this kid who's basically the biggest yes man in the world. He basically just says yes to everyone, no matter, he will say yes to any request, and basically he has no life, and his parents sell his soul to a demon, and the demon takes him into the world, but the demon doesn't want to eat him. He wants to he wants him to become his grandson, and he spoils him like crazy, and he basically says, okay, I'm going to take you to school, but the thing is, you can't tell anyone you're human, because if you do, they'll eat you. It's basically him surviving life as a human in a demon high school, and I thought it was a really I like the characters in it. They're funny. It's a little cliche, but I enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I'll give it like a. I'm being real. If I'm being real here, I'll probably give it like a 6.5. A 6.5, I think is fair. I think. Oh wait. Oh, this show is also a show that is going to be continuing on. So again, an asterisk on that. So again, it could turn out to be better. It could be turned out to be worse. But yeah, no, I enjoyed the show. I recommend it if you're just bored and you want to watch a series. It's only, I think, the 13th episode came out. It's only 13 episodes. I say that, that's like 6.5 hours. But yeah, no. If you want something fun and chill to watch, I recommend this show. So yeah. And on to the next one. No Guns Life. For me, this one was really interesting. I like the whole concept of like there was basically a war before the anime started, and where they experimented and turned, basically they're called extended, in which their bodies are like half machine, half human, and the main character is a guy named Inui Juzo, and he basically has a gun on his head, and that was the funny part about it. We had a lot of people into it just because he has a gun on his head. It's really interesting. He's a really cool character. He's basically a detective who solves cases for people. Just pay him. He never gets paid. Like no one ever pays this man. He just does cases. He's a really nice guy, and you find he meets up with this one kid called Tetsudo. I think his name is. I could be wrong, but his name's Tetsudo, and he's actually very important because he was an illegally modified human for the big organization that makes all the modifications. And if he was found out, he's basically he's wanted. Like the whole company, the biggest company, is looking for him because obviously, if the world found out about him, it'd be the end of that company. Probably end it of yeah, and that company basically runs the country or world that they live in. I don't know what the world is, and so someone asks him to basically ask Juzo, "Can you watch protect this man, make sure he's safe?" And he's like, "Sure." And so basically, it's a story about unraveling the secrets of that world, and while at the same time protecting Tetsudo. And it's a really good show. A lot of I love Tetsudo. I love Juzo. I really think I love his character. And for me, the show is definitely I'd say a 7.5. I'd say a 7.5. I'd say a 7.5 for that. Yep. And let's get on to the next show. And this next show is the sports anime. It's probably the only sports anime I'll watch this season. It's called Ahiru no Sora. Basically, it is the basically it's the basketball version of Haikyuu. No, I'm joking. It's not. It's not. They are similar. The main characters are similar in the fact that they're short. Especially in basketball and volleyball, those are being tall is a very, very huge key. So being short makes it difficult. And his goal is basically to be a really good basketball player. And you see, it's more than just about basketball. You see, where the thing it differentiates itself from most sports anime is that it doesn't solely focus on basketball. There's also life issues that all these kids are going through. You see that some of Ahiru's in the main character's case, his mom is terminally ill, and his mom is the reason he got into basketball, and his mom can't watch him play. Another person, his dad died, and he got into a lot of trouble, mischief, and he went down a bad path because of that. And at the same time, he was kicked out of his house by his stepdad and his mom, but he still cares about his family very much. So you see that it's at the same time these guys are delinquents, and at the same time they're growing not only in basketball but as people. They're growing to be better. So it's a dual sword. I'd give this show a 7. It has promised to be better. Obviously, the show isn't over yet. There's still more. It's still going on, so it could go higher. But 7's where I'm at with that show. And yeah, let's get started with the next episode. I mean, the next series. The next show we'll be talking about is probably this is a show that I did say it had potential, but I was wary of the CGI. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the show Beastars. Now, Beastars is basically a mix of Zootopia and the show Euphoria featuring. I'm not talking about the hentai. I'm talking about Euphoria, the one with Zendaya on it. It's basically there's this big wolf named Legoshi, and they're in a world basically where animals are basically humans, and they have to struggle with their animal instincts as well as their human instincts meshing well together. Because Legoshi, he is a gray wolf that is probably the kindest man in the world, and he would never hurt a fly, but he's struggling with his instincts of do I eat meat? He doesn't want to eat meat, and you also see that every character does struggle with something. Louis, a deer, he was a slave. He was owned at once, and you see him struggle with that reality and trying to prove that he is just as good as carnivores because he has an inferiority complex to carnivores. You meet a rabbit. Is the word? What is that name? Oh my gosh! Dang it! I don't know what the rabbit's name is. Oh my gosh, I forget the rabbit's name, but Rabbit she's a girl that deals, because obviously she's a dwarf rabbit and they're really small and fragile, and she's As a herbivore, you know you're scared of the carnivores. They could eat you at any moment. And Legoshi is into the rabbit, and he has to justify: do I like her because of it's who she is, or is because she's a prey? She's someone I should eat. Is and it's a difficult and it's difficult to oh my gosh, bro. Sorry about that. Thing just keeps going like crazy. Planes flying out. But yeah, as I was saying, he basically fights within himself. Does he care for her, or does he just want to eat her? And he doesn't really know, and that sort of eats at him. And you just see just like high school kids just trying to figure themselves out, but animal style. So I think this show was really good. I really enjoyed it. I'd give it like an 8.5. I really enjoyed the dynamics, and I think the CGI, for as much as people hate on it, it did help out a lot. So I'd probably give this show an 8.5, maybe a 9. I think I'm sticking with an 8.5, but that was a really good show. I enjoyed it. But yeah, let's get on to the last show. So the last show I watched this season was a show called Babylon. It wasn't really a talked about show. I mean, I know there are people who watched it, but for me, I didn't really see a lot of people who watched it. I was really interested in the concept. Basically, it's about this was it public prosecutor named Seizaki, and he is dealing with he's in this sort of created city that has their own laws. By Japan's created this city where they're able to experiment with laws, basically. See what I deal with? Like, I'm surprised this doesn't. They don't come while I'm recording videos like all the other videos. But yeah, there's a lot of planes that come by in the area, so sorry about that. And yeah, as I was saying, basically he's a public prosecutor, and then the Japan created the city called the Shiniki, and Shiniki basically is a city where they can experiment with laws and everything. And one of the laws someone proposed is the right to suicide, and it poses this question: is suicide okay? Is it okay to kill yourself if you want to? And there's also this girl who, weirdly enough, has the ability to make you kill yourself without doing anything. She just talks to you, and I guess she's literally the embodiment of sexual tension. If sexual tension was a human, that's who the girl, that's who, that's what it would look like, is her, and that's how it act like. It makes people want to kill. And Zen Seizaki is trying to prosecute and find out like who she is, why she's doing this, what's causing this, and basically it's your journey. And basically you journey with him and see if he can capture her. Now, this show had a lot of promise. I think one of the big issues it had was that for a long time it just wouldn't come up. Like, it started with 3 episodes straight out the bat. Okay, it shows 3 episodes the first week, then doesn't post for the next 3 weeks, until for like 3 weeks, I guess, just to keep up with everyone. And then after the 7th episode, um, it just stopped for a month. It just didn't post a single episode for a month, and I was just so confused with it, why it would do it, because I was really interested in the series. So I think that should take it. That deserves to take some points off of it. Not some, but because the story is really good, and if you guys have not watched it, I would recommend you watching it. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I'd give it. For the inconsistencies it had, it kind of lost its luster. And so for that, I'd give it a 7. But it's a really interesting story. Obviously, it's not done yet, so there is an asterisk on it. But hey, man, it's a really interesting story. And I would recommend you doing this. Alright, so that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We are 93 subscribers. We are 7 away from our goal of 100. As I've been saying, if we can get to it by New Year's, this is like basically my last plea, because I'm going to be posting this tomorrow on like New Year's Eve. So this is my last plea to anyone who watches it. If you're interested, subscribe, be part of it. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah. I will probably have the season preview up on Thursday for me, Eastern Standard Time. You could check it out, New York. Yeah, but I will probably have the season preview of next season up on Thursday. Again, let me know if you guys what's your guys' ratings for the shows. Do you agree with mine? Do you disagree with mine? Were there any shows that I didn't watch that you're like, oh, I should have watched? Let me know. I'll probably watch it in my spare time. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Did I go over everything? I think I did, yeah. So that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good day or night, depending on what time it is. And see ya. Bye.